Alright everyone, we have an article here by Amos Murphy in the Express, and you're going to love who the player is. If I told you it's a Swedish striker, you know immediately this is going to send Newcastle fans up the wall. They're going to be really furious. Probably schedule this for some point weekend, maybe, because at the moment it's not major news. Now I haven't read this article yet, I've just seen the headline, but I'm going to go through the article and I'm going to bring some points to you, alright? Personal points, because there's a few Newcastle fans that are not happy. I think it's not just me, it's other channels as well out discussing Isak. Some are understanding and some are just really arrogant and toxic and really abusive over it. You've got to remember, if people don't know Newcastle fans and you act like that, they're going to assume, wow, the fans aren't very nice. And I know for a fact the Newcastle fans are lovely people. The city's a lovely place. I have a lot of time for the club. I've spent most of my life in the northeast of England. I know the city very well. I studied in Newcastle. I have friends who I've grown up with who are Newcastle fans. So, yeah. Let's go to this article, okay? And then I'll go back to some points. Liverpool could create huge problem if they complete Alexander Isak swap deal. That's the headline. Personally, I don't see this happening because of the fee that is reported. Okay, the Reds have been linked to the prolific striker. Yes, we know. But it says any deal from them could present problems for Liverpool down the line. And I've just knocked the article off. Go back to my history. It's just, I did this before and I was looking at it. For some reason it takes me to a thing on Enzo Fernandez, which is annoying. There we go. So let's have a look at this problem. It says they could be sleepwalking into a big summer problem. That's what's interesting me. We know he's attracting attention from across the Premier League. He's got 23 goals and 33 appearances in all appearances across all competitions, and it's got here that we know what he's capable of. I mean, they mentioned the Carabao Cup final. I don't think we need the Carabao Cup finals. We know what Isak was capable of. It says he was crucial to the Newcastle project, and a move away from St James's Park has been expected this summer. Newcastle are expected to demand upwards of 100 million. It's a bit cheaper than 150 million, but it's still a heck of a lot of money. But now they say here, Liverpool's transfer chiefs, so that's Hughes and Edwards, may have to get creative with the offer. Okay. let me guess. I haven't read this yet, but would it be involving players and cash in a deal? Let's have a look. Go for the adverts. There have been suggestions. Liverpool could submit a player, and then they've put in brackets S of players, plus cash instead. It would help bring down a transfer fee and allow Liverpool to get rid of unwanted players. So far, what's the problem? Unless it's to replace those players down the line. 2 names being tipped. Jarrell Quansah, and I think he was linked in the Anthony Gordon potential move last year, and Joe Gomez, and I think he also got linked. And I don't know if they were linked separately, both, but I think Joe Gomez was, but Quansah was linked with the Gordon deal. What did they say here? 2 players who've previously been linked with Newcastle moves. So we've got stuff about Newcastle asking about their availability, I think, last summer. Oh, here's the problem. Okay. I'll read this out because I see where they're going with this. But if the 6 times European champions do include Quansah and Gomez as sweeteners in their Isak pursuit, it could cause problems for the homegrown quota. Premier League rules state that at least 8 players registered in a team's 25-man squad must be homegrown. Now we have already one expected to leave in Trent Alexander-Arnold. And they say a chunk of Liverpool's most likely departures are going to be homegrown. So they've mentioned Trent again. And Kelleher, the goalkeeper, linked with a departure. Right. I've just... Does it say much more? Here we go. I'll finally find the rest of the article. And then such a high turnover on homegrown players would also certainly mean we'd need to buy from the fresh faces from the UK, basically. So that's an interesting one. I'm going to screenshot that because who are our homegrown players? I may look into that. That's interesting actually, because that's obviously born in Scotland, Wales, England, and I assume it's just Northern Ireland now. I don't know where the Republic of Ireland stands on it, because I could have sworn Kelleher was born in the Republic of Ireland. Where was he born, Kelleher? He was born in the Republic of Ireland. Born in Cork. So is it just Ireland in general? Yeah, so So if you've got to field 25 players, that does call that. I see where they're going with the Isak one, so you've got to be careful about who you involve in a swap deal. If it hadn't been for that rule, that deal would have probably been very, very more doable. Now, I'll go to, as I promised, my thoughts on this transfer story. Isak to Liverpool. I've had a lot of people having a go, running their mouths, saying it's not happening, I'm talking rubbish, I don't know what I'm talking about. I've never once actually claimed Isak is leaving Newcastle. He said he's happy there. I think he said he loves the city and the people or something. And I know the city, I know the people. Well, not personally, but I know what life in Newcastle is like. I've got more experience of the North East than Isak has. For example, I've lived in the North East. In fact, I lived there are a few miles on the outskirts of Newcastle for about 24 years. 24, 25 years. I have family in the area. I studied there. I know Newcastle well, from the Haymarket to Northumberland Street to Quayside, Big Market. I know Newcastle. I know what the people are like, so I can understand why he loves the city and the people. I have a lot of time for the club. And much as I'm gutted we lost that final, I'm glad if it was any team to beat us, I'm glad it was Newcastle. And I'm pleased for them. They deserve it. It's about time. I remember, I think it was the 96 and 97 Cup finals when it was Man United and Arsenal, and they just missed out on the FA Cup. They just missed out on the league. They just missed out on the Carabao Cup 2 years ago. So I see why he doesn't want to leave. And I don't blame him. It's a passionate, caring fan base. It's a lovely city. And the people are fantastic. And I'm speaking from experience. When they signed Michael Owen, it was impossible to literally walk past the ground because it was thousands of people around the ground. It was bedlam. When Shearer came back, it was insane when Shearer came back. St James's Park on a match day, the atmosphere is out of this world. It's an amazing atmosphere at that ground. So I'm saying is, he's got that city, that passion, those fans. You can see why he wants to stay. They've just won the first trophy in my lifetime, really. Alright, I've seen them win promotions, but I've never seen them win a trophy. And there could be one, maybe two, maybe more, at least two generations of Newcastle fans that have never seen them do anything until that final. They've got owners that are much better fit for that club than what they had before. I mean, Mike Ashley was not a good fit for that club. He was not liked. They wanted him out, and you could feel it in the city centre. And when he left, you could feel the change in the mood. It was obvious. Now, unless they have to sell due to PSR reasons or whatever, I don't see them selling him. They've got no need to. I think unless you get some club comes in with, say, 250 million pound offer, something, I'm just using that number as an example, so i.e. a crazy silly bid, they don't need to even accept it. But if something like that comes in because of the way PSR works, it'd be stupid to say no if a world record bid came in and they just leave it in the hands of the player. And I've got a funny feeling Isak's going to say no. In terms of the Liverpool link, I can't remember the players, but it was when we had the likes of Shaqiri and there was other players came in. We had to sell first, even though we could afford it. Technically, I think we had to sell first to buy. FSG, well, their priority is finishing in a top 4 because there's not much difference financially between finishing 4th and finishing, say, 2nd, for example. So they aim for the top 4, and what you'd have to spend to guarantee a title versus the guaranteed top 4 is very, very different. Apparently there's significant financial outlay to guarantee a title, and even then it doesn't guarantee a title. So we look at the price point. They say they're upwards of 100. We've heard figures of 150. I've heard 180, which is bordering in close to world record transfer figure numbers. There is no way we are spending 150 million plus on him. No way. I do not see it. I mean, yes, we had a British record fee accepted for Casado, but there are some claims that we knew he was going to pick Chelsea. I mean, there's pictures of him as a youngster in a Chelsea kit, so I think we knew he was going to pick Chelsea. So there were claims where we've just bid it anyway, knowing we weren't going to get him, so therefore we knew we didn't have to pay that money. I do not know how true that is. But then again, we spent that money, if we had it, on Dominic Szoboszlai, Wataru Endo, Ryan Garbuck and Alexis McAllister, if I remember correctly. And not only is there a signing on transfer fee of 100 million plus, say 150 million, you've got a signing on fee. Okay? And then you've got wages. He's on, I think, 120,000 at Newcastle now. I can expect double to more, that he's going to want to be the main man in the team. And I think when you look at his numbers, he's got every right to expect that. So you could be saying 250k a week. You may think 250k a week. Alright. Now, let's do a calc. Say he does get 250k a week, right? Let's times that over a year. That's 13 million. And if you gave him say a 7, I don't know what he got at Newcastle signing on fee. I'm trying to find that out, because this is just relevant to my point. If I can find out. Total transfer fee was said to be they said 93 million. Or was that what he's paid overall? 85, no, it could be what he's paid, 93 million, okay. I don't know how you work out what a signing on fee would be. Maybe they haven't published what the signing on fee is. Because I don't know if it's a In the English Football League, transfers between clubs entail the new club playing the league a levy of 5% of the transfer fee. So not only have you got signing on fees, you've got agents' fees. Players' agents often receive a percentage of the transfer fee as well. Agent is entitled to a fee which until recently was usually around 5 to 10% of the salary. So you've got all these fees as well, all these other costs. It's not just a case of you pay the transfer, you pay his money as wages a week, that's it. So 150 million transfer could end up being more. He signs for 180 million. You could be paying more than the world record transfer in terms of wages, fees as well. So therefore I don't see Arsenal or us doing that deal. I really do not. And so I see why Newcastle fans are getting upset over it. He's their star player. They're trying to build a project there, a team. And there was a video I did, and it was on about the swap deal. And I was using the price of what was supposedly rejected for Darwin Núñez, and the 150 million fee for Isak. So I said, well, Núñez is like literally half the fee. And said, would you want Liverpool to spend 75 million and offer them Núñez for Isak? And I said no. And the reason I said no, and I just explained it a bit more in depth in another video, but I'm not going to go through that now because the video is there to watch. I suggested going for Hugo Ekitike, the Frankfurt striker, who numbers wise, stats wise, abilities wise, is similar in a lot of ways to Isak, but just offers something different in others. But his goal contributions, his assists and minutes are fairly similar. Different league, yes, but a striker, when he's got a chance, has to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. He's done that. Isak's done that. Darwin Núñez has not done that. So yeah, I'm just explaining why I don't think Isak is a good enough fit. I am explaining why he'd be, in my opinion, actually I'll reword that. I'm explaining why I don't think he's the best fit in terms of overall player. Yes, the goals return, but you've also got to factor in the cost for those goals. And I think we might have to look elsewhere. And I think a lot of other clubs, if they were wanting a goal scorer, would have to look elsewhere. But in terms of how we play, I think there are strikers who will still get maybe 20 goals, but provide so much more in terms of assists and opportunities for other players. So I'll just round it up briefly there to explain my point. Isak could get us, say, 25 goals in the Premier League next season. And I'll use Benjamin Sesko. He may get us 17 goals in the Premier League next season. Okay? Isak first may get 2 assists. So that would be 27 goal contributions, right? Sesko may get us 12 assists, say. And he's very capable of doing that. And then if you look at those goal contributions, Isak is sitting at 27 and Sesko could be sitting at 29. With Sesko in the team, you get more goals. You've got to look at the other factors to the game, the player's game and style as well. And that's another reason I think Isak may not be the best, but he can play a bit further wide, so he would probably create, but he wouldn't be playing wide for us, he'd be through the middle. So in terms of numbers, I don't think he has to be the man. There are other options. The finance side of things, I think I've explained that very, very simply more than enough. I don't think the numbers work. I think you prioritise that fee, you could suffer elsewhere. So that is why I don't think he's the fit, because there are other strikers who can maybe, in terms of assists as well and overall goal contributions, match or surpass Isak's. It doesn't have to be just the goals. If you've got a striker that scores 30 goals and you've got a striker that scores 20 goals and gives you 15 assists, where do you benefit more? People forget about the assists as well. Itchy eye. And Why would he not want to move? I've explained that. I've explained that he's got a love for the city and the fans, and I've explained why. And to fully understand, you need to really know the city, and I say after 2 decades of living in and around the city, I kind of got a clue what the city was like. I've studied in the city, I've eaten out in the city, I've been in nights out in the city, I've gone to do's in the city and celebrations and parties and whatnot. I've been out with friends in Jesmond and Gosforth and Byker and Wild's-End and the Quayside and everywhere. I know the city well. I've got a lot of time for the city, so I understand his claims. And it's when I put all this together, I don't think he's the right player. As a package, as a whole, as a person, I don't think he's the right player. But there you go. I hope the Newcastle fans watch this to the end and understand why. I mean, we've got to discuss the claims because it's news. It affects both our clubs. And I hope they understand why I get a bit frustrated when I get people calling me out saying I've said he's moving, and I've just literally explained pretty much in depth. I mean, this video is nearly 32 minutes, and I think a lot of it is me explaining it. And another thing with, I don't think Isak is the right buy, is the fact the problems it could create with the homegrown rule. That's another big factor. I don't know Arsenal's situation or what deal they would have to do, but for us, I don't think it works. I'd have to have a look into that, actually. Find out what the homegrown rule is. Maybe that's a video topic, I don't know. Alright guys, thank you very much. I'm sorry I've rambled on too long, but I thought that needed touching on because some Newcastle fans are getting a bit upset at people with Isak, and I'm trying to explain why. I don't think you'll be losing Isak this summer, especially not to us or Arsenal. Alright guys, take care and to the next video, alright?